Okay, so today I'm going to talk about something a bit strange to some, but to other people, they might think it's pretty normal, and that is the idea of reincarnation. Now, the idea of reincarnation might seem like a silly dream or something. It might seem like wishful thinking or like a fantasy, right? Because it's like, really, you think you're going to die and then you're going to magically get reincarnated again, right? Because it sounds kind of silly. But then you start to think, well, isn't all of existence kind of silly, right? So the idea is to be open to really about almost any possibility. You know, are we living in a simulation? Is there reincarnation? Is there like an eternal consciousness that's aware of everything? Some people call that eternal consciousness God or source, right? Because if you giggle at these things and consider them stupid or where's the evidence? Well, that's not how reality works. You know, it's not just like show me evidence by science or it doesn't exist and I'm just going to giggle at it. That's not how reality works. The idea is to keep an open mind, and then maybe someday these things can be scientifically proven, if that's what you really want, right? But the idea of reincarnation is interesting, but there's one thing that I always hear people say, which is, well, what's the point of reincarnation? It's kind of stupid because, oh yeah, it's exciting, you get to come back, but if you don't remember anything, what's the point, right? Because it's like, they think of it as like you're kind of getting ripped off because like you live this life and then you have another life after that, but you don't remember your past life, so you might as well be dead. You might as well just be a new person, because what's the point? Because you don't get to remember anything. Your memory's erased. So people think that's kind of a waste, right? Now, again, if you look at that superficially, you can think, yeah, that kind of makes sense. It's kind of a ripoff. What's the point if you don't get to remember anything, right? But with everything in life is really just about infinite perspectives on the same thing. Okay, so here's another perspective of reincarnation. So the idea is, what's the point if you don't remember, right? Well, ironically, okay, so let's assume for this argument that there's an eternal part of us, right? Whether we have some awareness that exists outside of this time and space in this world. And that eternal awareness is the part that keeps reincarnating, right? So from our perspective here, we think, what the hell's the point of incarnating if I forget everything? What a ripoff, right? But from this eternal awareness perspective, the one that keeps incarnating, it's like the greatest gift to forget, right? Forgetting is your greatest gift. Now that sounds crazy because you're like, Tony, you've completely lost your mind. So you're telling me forgetting is the greatest gift? And I'm saying, ironically, in a weird way, it is. But why? Well, think about our life and the psychology of our life, which is, typically speaking, our most exciting years are from 0 to 20 or maybe 0 to 30. But why? Right? Because 30 to 90 or 30 to 80, however long you live, those could be fun times, sure. But why are your early years, generally speaking, so much more exciting? Well, because you get to experience your first everything, right? So imagine if you were this eternal awareness and you never got to experience your first anything anymore. You just done it all. Imagine how boring that would be. So this idea of forgetting is our greatest gift, because imagine most of our greatest memories is our first something. The first time we learned to ride a bike, the first time use your imagination. You can probably go down the list. Your first everything's, right? Exciting, it's new, it's fresh. And then when you do something enough times, it's not really that exciting anymore. So that's what happens psychologically with a lot of us as we get older. We get kind of jaded. When you're young, you have this thirst for life because it's like everything's a new experience. I want to try doing this. I want to go out and do that. And then after a while, you get a little bit kind of jaded. It's like, yeah, I could go out, but am I really going to like experience anything that wild and exciting? Because, you kind of feel like I've seen it all and I've done it all and it's not. So this idea of forgetting gives us this thirst and this desire for these experiences again, because it's so exciting. When you're young, it literally feels like every day has this magical potential to experience something completely new. You feel that. It's like a really magical feeling when you're young. And yeah, you get to have that experience again, right? So I think that is the magic of reincarnation. The idea that you do forget because you get to re-experience those firsts again. And those really are like the most amazing times of your life. To experience everything as new again. And so this idea of reincarnation is kind of stupid, because why do we keep coming back if we forget? What's the point? Well, maybe it's just simply so it feels new again, right? What's a better gift if you're an eternal awareness than getting to re-experience something and make it feel new and fresh again, right? So this idea of forgetting gives us a chance at re-experiencing everything for the first time. Because as an eternal awareness, how else would you trick yourself to feel like you're having new experiences? It might get challenging at some point, right? Now you could say that, well, no, because you never get bored because there's an infinite amount of experience you could have, so it's always going to seem new. That's true. But it also helps if you want to come back and feel like a new person again, right? Because if you come back and you reincarnate with all your memories of your past lives, that's an interesting experience. That could be a cool experience because you have all this memory of everything you've done, and you feel like, well, now I'm a lot wiser. Now I could make better choices, right? But there's also that part of you that's lost, where it's like you're not going to come back with the innocence and the it's just not going to feel as exciting because it's not new. Like I said, when you're young, everything seems exciting because it's so new. Everything feels so new to you. And I think that newness, that because even as you get older, the idea of experiencing something new is exciting. Right? Because even if you get older and you get jaded and you think, well, I don't know, I've seen it. I've seen it all. I've experienced it all. Even if you're super jaded, if the opportunity comes up for you to experience something new, it's still really exciting. Even though you think you've kind of seen it all and what's the point, but then you experience something new and it's amazing. But when you're young, it seems like every day it feels like that. So I think that is the greatest gift of reincarnation. The idea that you do forget just simply for the fact that so things feel new and exciting again. And I think that's probably, as an eternal awareness, feeling something new is probably as exciting as it could possibly get. Because if you're eternal, if you're eternal, the idea is imagine what it would be like to be eternal, and what would you really be craving? See, because we think that what we want to crave is some sort of happy, perfect experience, like living in heaven where everything's great and perfect. But the idea is as a eternal awareness where you'd probably be craving to experience is just simply something new, right? So if we get to come back here and reincarnate and experience life as new again, where everything feels new, even if it is kind of an illusion, it's kind of better than nothing, right? So even though it is an illusion, that's why a lot of times I think we have that feeling of where even when I was younger and I was experiencing new things and they felt new and exciting, there was always still a part of me that felt like I've done this stuff before in a weird way. I don't know, some people might relate to that, some people might not, but all the new stuff and all the exciting firsts that I experienced, it's in a weird way, it still kind of felt like I've done this before. But that exciting feeling is still there, but somewhere deep down you feel like you've done it before, but it's still exciting. But yeah, that's probably all we're really going for if we're this eternal awareness, because what else can you do other than feel like you're having new experiences, right? Because a lot of people are actually scared of even imagining them. There's actually a phobia that's basically being terrified of eternity, the idea of living forever, because the idea is pretty insane, and like being trapped in eternity. Like I sometimes wonder how many people have thought about that, the concept of truly like being an eternal being. Like you're trapped, you're in eternity forever. That's a pretty crazy thought, right? It's just as, because a lot of times people have had the thought of like, imagine dying and never existing again, because that's a pretty crazy thought too, right? You know, the universe has been around for billions of years or however long you think it's been around, and all of a sudden you magically pop into existence for 100 years or however long, and then you're gone for all of eternity. That's a pretty crazy thought. But so is being trapped in eternity forever. It's a pretty crazy thought. So you think if you're going to be in eternity forever, what are you going to do for all that time? So probably what you'd want to do is feel like you're having new experiences for your own sanity, so it feels new again. So I think maybe that's what reincarnation is, just simply the gift of forgetting so we can feel something new again. And that's it. That was my video on reincarnation. So I'll leave it at that, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.